Hi guys, welcome to part 3 of my Tropical Storm Isaac update. Alright, so my final part here is going to talk a little about the European model and also my forecast for Tropical Storm update and what I think is going to happen. But before we do anything, I want to just note something with the GFS ensembles. Note, and I want to say this again, and I already mentioned it on my last part, in part number 2, but I want to mention it again, and I want to sort of make a correlation here between this and sort of another part of weather. So notice how just after it makes landfall, for some reason most of the models are indicating that this will move towards the northeast. So what is the reason? Why? Okay, why is it moving towards the northeast? Why isn't it just moving into the Midwest? Or why isn't it moving west? What is causing this low pressure to move into the northeast or New England? Well, very simple reason. We have a trough. There will be a trough during this time. And that is a major thing. Because guess what? What's going to happen is it after it hits landfall, it gets caught up into the trough, the storm, and then guess what? It causes rain all up the East Coast. Now, why is this a major deal? Why is it, more of a deal than normal? Because this is the same sort of pattern that I expect for the winter. Okay? And this is just one of the very few aspects that I'm already starting to see, and it really kind of shows you the direction how the storm will be moving and how close to New England it will be. So that's essentially what I wanted to indicate to you, and I sort of really wanted to mention that and sort of make a little bit of a correlation. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the European model. And I want to go kind of quick here because I don't want to get into specifics because I don't want to go over time. I don't want to create a fourth part. So what we're going to do is we're just going to briefly look at the European. And I want to show you how since really the 20th, the European model has been saying that this thing will go into the Gulf. Okay, and why that's such a why that's such a big deal, and why I think I should have looked at this before. So this is even before Isaac became a tropical depression. You can see as time moves onward, this is where he is at today, 2 days ago. Okay, this is where they were thinking 2 days ago. And as time moved itself onward, it looks like things started to strengthen. And look at, he is pointing himself in the direction of the Gulf Coast. Now, why is that? Well, look at this area of bright orange. Now, before we talk about this area of bright orange, if you see any blue or purple or green on this map, any of these colors, that indicates an area of low pressure. If you see any areas of yellow, orange, red, or pink, that is an area, of high pressure. Okay, now, what is so important here? Well, the one major thing here is that if this area of high pressure that we have out in the Atlantic does strengthen, what is going to happen with this storm system is it will get veered away from going up in this direction and will go in this direction. Okay, now why is that such a big deal? Well, the reason why it's a big deal is because it could make a difference on whether the track is something like this or something like this. Now, you start asking, well, Stephen, why? Why does a storm get veered away from an area of high pressure? Though the reason why that happens is because if you have an area of low pressure, okay, and low pressure, they want to continue to strengthen. So does the area of high pressure. And what happens is the area of low pressure wants to beat out the area of high pressure. And if the area of high pressure is strengthening, the area of low pressure will get veered away because it's just too unfavorable development for them. They can't develop anymore if they were to go into that area. So it just wouldn't be favorable at all for them. So this is why the European model is saying this. But not all the models are indicating that the area of high pressure will strengthen that much. But I'm just showing it to you because this is why I really kind of started to back off from the idea that we were going to see this storm hitting the East Coast. This is from yesterday, same thing. I mean, showing that it's going to go into the Gulf of Mexico pretty much. Yesterday morning, this is yesterday evening, afternoon, and you can sort of see into the Gulf of Mexico, and then we move on into today, and I mean, really, same thing. I mean, same thing here. I mean, overall, same pattern, and then you look at the actually, I looked at the wrong one. I looked at the ensemble mean here. This is the one I wanted to show you. Overall, right into the Gulf of Mexico, and then you look at the most recent ensemble, most recent European model, and look at this, right into the Gulf of Mexico as a major hurricane. So, therefore, that is what has caused me to believe that maybe this storm will not go up the East Coast, is because look at how many days this thing has been saying that it's going to not go up the East Coast. So maybe, just maybe, the European is hitting on something. I don't know. Alright, so this is my track, okay, and I know a lot of people, a lot of news stations, they tend to always put a line where they think the track will be. I'm not particularly fond of putting a line where I think the storm is going to be, and particularly in this situation. So unknown at this particular point. So, don't focus on the center because that's not where I want you to focus. This whole cone is my forecast. Now, as time has been moving forward, this part of the cone right here seems a little bit less likely to happen. But is it still possible? Absolutely. It's still absolutely possible. So, but these left or westernmost tracks, I guess you could say, of my cone are probably the two parts that I'm probably a little bit more comfortable with and a little bit more confident about. So, overall, I really do think that this will become a hurricane. Now, the part that's a little different is when you get into this part. Overall, through really Friday, things are going to be about the same, and I think most models are agreeing with that. But once you get after that, that's when things sort of become a little bit less known. And that's because on Friday, okay, whoops, that's tomorrow, or Thursday. On Friday, okay, there is here, okay, here. If Isaac is going to go into the Gulf of Mexico, what is going to happen is we will see a trend going more west. So we will see that the movement of Isaac will be west. If this is going to move towards Florida, we will see a movement northwest. We'll say maybe west-northwest. Now, let's just say if it was going to move towards the East Coast, it would be moving in a direction northwest. Okay? Maybe a little bit something more along the lines like this, but it would be moving in generally a direction north and west. If it were to be moving towards Florida, it would move overall in a little bit less of a northwesterly direction. This is more north-northwest, and then this is more northwest, and then this would be west. If it were to move in a westerly direction, then it would be going towards the Gulf of Mexico. And it's going to be on Friday when all of our answers on where this storm is going to go will be answered. So at this particular time, this is my whole forecast right here. Okay, that is it. Okay, there's no, I think it's going to hit here. There's no, I think it's going to hit there. It's, at this point, the only thing I'm certain of is that this will be here tomorrow or later on this afternoon. That is the only thing I'm certain of. That's why I only have one dot here. Once you start getting out to Friday, that's when things start becoming a little bit less uncertain. Okay, so we're going to have to see how things work itself out here over the next couple days. I am going to, continue to monitor all of these situations here. Although this track right now is a little bit outdated, or the information is outdated, overall things are generally looking the same when it comes in terms of Isaac, when it comes in terms of the 11 o'clock advisory. So I hope you all have a great rest of your Wednesday. Actually, right now it's Thursday Eastern time. But if you are in those central portions of the country listening, have a great rest of your Wednesday, and I thank you for listening to my update here. I know it was long. I know it was several parts, but it just needed a lot of explanation. And yes, there's a lot of science behind it, and I hope I didn't bore you with it. If I did, well, I'm sorry. That's why I sort of told you or asked you if, you wanted to get to, in the beginning, to pause the video, so that you could get something to eat and so that you could be comfortable, because some people do get a little bored with this. So thank you very much for listening, and I will be putting out my forecast across the country next. But if you don't listen to that, well, then take care, everyone, and I hope you have a wonderful Thursday. And I will probably be back sometime later on today, with another update on Isaac. Take care, everyone.